this mic again. Oh, how about now? Oh, yeah, I gotta set up this mic. Whoa, that's really loud. How about that? No? Trying to get the volume right for this microphone, but it's so low, and the volume is so low every time. And if it's too high volume, then it gets too much noise. Even with the Vox C-Suite, it's still the background noise. How about, well, maybe that's better. Got rid of the background noise. How about, no, not that. Do I need a different, I'm trying different plugins here on Apollo. So on the latest version of the program, just have the charts that I documented last time. It's not ideal to hear the background audio. Let me try this. Artificially inflate the voice so it's louder. That should be better. Still a little bit of humming in the background. So I'm using Luna, and I have to get used to the different volume presets that I am trying to use here. Now, in this program version, I'm still currently using Pygame sprites with the CPU to blit and get the rectangle position for each note and updating the position of each note individually, one at a time, for all the active notes that are displayed on the screen. So I was thinking of how to improve that with OpenGL buffers, instance buffers or something like that. But that's like a longer term type of goal. So nothing yet. As far as this session goes, recently I've been playing E flat Thin Lizzy. I visualize it and it says Emerald's the most song played. So I go Emerald, try to lead, go to visualize. Most recent score was down, and so was the accuracy, but the tempo was up. Oh, I also have to see something of the code. How it determines the timing to be late or early. Wait, what? Note, hit time, and note time, start time, and current relevant song time. Hit time. forgiveness, 0.05. Note register for forgiveness equals 0.05. Really? Just talking to programming. Start time, current song time, forgiveness window. Such a small window. On time, early, late. Hit time is greater than start time. Hit time less than start time minus forgiveness. Start time minus forgiveness less than equal to start. Hit time less than equal to start. Well, I know you can't see the code, but I think that's accurate. Defining the note timing when I hit the note and compared to the note start time. Score is 1 for hit plus the timing of the note plus the note length plus the streak. It's good enough for now. Oh, I do have to make more charts. Wait, you see that timing though? 50% late, 40% early, 5% on time. That on time is really tough. Let me try something. Oh, okay. I'm going to try another adjustment in the note hit detection logic. try that. Passing in the current time. Snapshot consistency when I pass in the time and a thread. Bottlenecks. Talking to a chat GBT at the same time. All right, let's try it. Restart the program. So far, so good. Okay. Oh, I stopped it. Whoops. Is it detecting the guitar? Let's see. Go to input. Yep. Yes, it is. All right. What tuning? What guitar? What songs? Kind of thinking E flat again. V100 or the perhaps a different guitar. The Yamaha. I think I'll play the Yamaha to mix it up. But I might need the axe. I have to configure the tone. That'll take some configuration. All right. Gonna get ready. Give me some time. Hello. Trying to get used to these volumes. So this is, I've just been trying to put new strings on. It's not that exciting. I was trying to switch it up from playing the other guitar that I usually play, the vintage V100 Lemon Drop. I'm trying to switch it up to this Yamaha P90. And it takes some getting used to finding the tone, especially with new strings. I didn't even clip them. You can see them dangling. These are custom tuners. I forget what they're called, ratio tuners. So each string has the equal amount of pressure when tuning. And this is usually a noisy guitar because of the P90 is noisy. So I have another plugin trying to cancel out that 60 cycle hum that a P90 usually emits, similar to a noise suppressor, but digitally. So I could either switch to the V100 or try out this Yamaha, but the tone, I can't use the same presets. Not sure it's intentional or not. Possibly here. Okay. Okay. I know my voice will be low. Let's see. I can't find a way to. Oh, hold on. How's this? Is that louder? There's so many different things. Timing was accurate, but the frequency was off. So, is the volume okay, first of all? Cool. The thing is, though, I'm having a hard time juggling the microphone with the guitar. I know the microphone is lower, but they're both kind of on the same channel, which is irritating. Okay, so yeah, I spend most of my time programming this, and the time that I'm on here on the stream is mostly me just trying to play it and see the changes I made. And I've been noticing that, well, the tempo keeps adjusting, right? So, okay, we have the note log. Oh, hold on, let me get rid of that on the screen. Hey, another subscriber on Twitch. Nice. Okay. So the current program, yeah, these are the note logs. It's not that pretty of an interface, right? So you choose a note log, and I just added the previous and the next button to cycle between them. So they're by date and time, hour, minute, year, it's month, day, hour, minute, second, year, something like that. So I have March 10th selected. I go back and it's March 3rd. That's the last time I played it, this particular Mountain Gem. Then the current visualize graphs that I recently added. We can see this Mountain Gem has more score than the previous playthrough. More accuracy compared to the last playthrough, but 2 playthroughs ago, the same accuracy. The highest tempo. Oh, hold on, that was March 10th. Let me go next, March 10th. Sorry, that was March 3rd. Let me go back to March 10th. Start over. Now we're on March 10th. Okay, March 10th. Oh wow, that's interesting. It saved my position in the visualize. So this visualize button, I have it toggling between screens. That was fun. Sarcastic, getting that implemented, just changing. Are you on this screen? Oh, no? Are you on this screen? Click it again. Now you're on this one. Anyways, so score got less score than last time, less accuracy than last time, more. Wow, look at that tempo jump. That's crazy. See, right now, one problem is that I'm noticing is the higher the tempo, the faster it goes when it increases. So, okay, let me go back. So those are the stats. And when you go to the tempo screen, these are the measures grouped by tempo. But what I do is I go to this dynamic screen, and this is what alters the tempo based on the note log. So that's all I got at the moment is this screen. And I'm noticing every time I play, it's different tempos. So that means I'm hitting accuracy and getting faster speed, and for the most part. But that's also throwing me off because I'm never used to the same tempo. Because what happened is, like back in 2013, 14, 15, I wrote Guitar Pro songs, and then I developed the habit of modifying the Guitar Pro file on a file basis and then exporting that to a game called Rocksmith, which is like what this game is. But the Rocksmith took too many steps to modify, so that's eventually what led me to this program where I just open a Guitar Pro file within seconds. So this program, got tired of modifying the Guitar Pro 5 files manually. Like I used that 2013 file for like 10 years up until this program. I never felt like changing the tempo, in particular this Mountain Jam song. It always had the same tempo for the most part based on the file. like on these two graphs on the very top, the initial tempo, because the song tempo default 148. And then I changed it to be like 120, 110, and 90 in some areas. I fluctuated because I knew I never wanted to remove all the notes. I never was a fan of dynamic difficulty. I was more of a fan of give me all 100% of the notes, but just slow down the speed. So that's why I'd rather play slower, but hit all the notes and get in that habit of hitting the notes. So in this dynamic tempo, you can see it fluctuate more and more. But currently, yeah, that's the only logic that I'm doing with the stats and the tempo is these graphs, getting all those variables, and then this screen. But this screen is a problem too because, okay, so it goes by. First thing is it gets the min and the max tempo that you want for the song. By the way, I'm looking at your chat. If you ever say anything, I don't know. But the min and max tempo is set by the default. So when I open the song, it saves a JSON of the default settings of the song. And then that way there's always like a reference to reset it. If I don't like the settings, I could just, hit the reset and it goes back to the initial like Guitar Pro 5 file, and then the graphs go to current because there is no more dynamic applied. And you go back to dynamic and you apply it and you go here. Now it's dynamic versus initial. But this screen in particular gets the min and max by the default Guitar Pro 5 files. Then the default setting for previous files to look at, previous playthroughs to look at right now is default 6, but you can set it to whatever. And then right now, it compares every measure note by note, the measure's accuracy. So this current setting, if I get 60% accuracy between the three previous playthroughs, I think it's like the average or something like that. But if I get 60% accuracy, then that measure's tempo is going to increase 10% from whatever it was most recently. Because, each time, if I go 3 files back, more than likely the most previous one has a faster tempo than the third one that I played. So it goes by the most recent tempo between the min and max, of course. And then it determines whether to increase or decrease or do nothing. So lately I've been noticing that a lot of my playthroughs have been increasing for the most part, like Hideaway, Cannon Rock, a bunch of the Thin Lizzy songs, Jailbreak, but basically anything. I've at least got a 70% accuracy so far on all the songs whenever I tried. But yeah, the note detection is something I've been modifying recently too. Quite a bit, actually. So I have a game loop, and a game loop has a thread, and there's another thread for the guitar input. And they're both looking at the same dictionary as to the most recently free. Well, there's several different iterations I have of it, but the most recent, I have a dictionary of frequencies, and they all have the most recent time. And I have 2 threads trying to access that. So I recently made it so that there's a lock if they both threads try to access it. Okay, hold on. I'm glad you typed because I'm getting off track. Okay. So the faster you play, the faster the tempo gets. If I get accuracy if I get expected accuracy, like 60% accuracy, then it increases by 10%. But the problem with that formula, algorithm, whatever, is I didn't think it through because there's some songs that I have purposely, my lowest tempo personally I ever put on any song is 33. So I noticed like on the ending last measures of Cannon Rock, that's an example of a measure I put at 33 speed, 33 tempo. The default song, I don't remember what the default tempo is, Cannon Rock. We could check it out. But what I noticed is that the fault I'm trying to get to, the design flaw that I've noticed only after playing through it that makes me have to rethink it is the current formula, algorithm, whatever. It takes the current tempo and gives it a percent boost. So what I didn't consider is, lower tempos have a lower percent to increase by compared to higher tempos. Like 10%, 15% of 33 BPM might be like 1. So take like a playthrough or two to get it from 33 tempo to 34, another playthrough or two to get it from 34 to 35. Whereas if I look at these faster tempos, the higher tempos, 15% of 90 BPM is more than 1. So that faster tempo increases by more than the slower parts. So that's one thing I didn't think through. That's one thing I have to rethink, because there's some measures that I purposely put slow, but I want to increase them faster. I was thinking of like a reversing the ratio, like if you're lower, then increase it more. If you're higher, increase it less. But I just didn't get around to it yet. Does that make sense? How like the current version is? So this screen saves all these variables for each file in a file, or every Guitar Pro file I open has unique dynamic tempo settings that are saved offline. When I close the program and I reopen the program, it loads that previous data session of what I set that song's dynamic tempo settings to. So that's why every time I play, no matter what song, I always just click through, okay, tempo, dynamic, apply. And it goes so fast that you may not notice the time of the song. Right now, 8:17 with dynamic. And if you go back to default, by default 10. Wait, what? Hold on. Okay, that's true. For a second, I was like, wait, why am I making it faster than the default? But that's because I have the initial Guitar Pro 5 file modified tempo throughout the song. So that's why. It's not normally 10-minute song in Canon Rock. I just slowed down the initial Guitar Pro 5 file, and I didn't want to have to reopen the file and manually edit the file. So this program does that for me. So dynamic tempo changes the song length from 10 minutes to 8 minutes. So yeah. And then there's a server that it connects to, right? So when I launch the program, I have a website, songcreatorvision.com. And then there's a registration. There's a front end guest view of the website where if you're logged out, you're going to only see like the front homepage. But once you're logged in, if you have an account, your files are going to be synchronized on the server, where like I have different computers that access this program, and I want them all to be in sync, right? Have the same stats. Like when you go to the Open Guitar Pro 5 screen, they all have stats like times played. Like if I go on my other computer and I haven't synced yet, they're going to have different times played because the files are only on this computer. So if I hit the sync button, first it'll synchronize the Guitar Pro files between the server for my user. So my user has a user ID. The server has like the sections for each user. There, I just uploaded Canon Rock JSON. I think, what was that? Emerald, Jailbreak. This is the play info, number of times the song has been played, the dynamic tempo settings. Now it's uploading the note stats, Emerald, Jailbreak, Canon Rock, Mountain Jam. I guess I only played 4 so far. Wow. Would there be a downside to increase the tempo by a base number? For example, if you hit the accuracy requirements, increases by a point instead of 3. No, there's no downside. That's actually a good idea. I didn't think it would be that simple, but that might be a good idea. See, there's lots of variables. You could do it any which way. That's the beauty of the programming, right? You can however you want it. It's the ideas that are hard to come up with, but that's a good idea. So just a base rate, base like number, not percentage. So like if I go to here, dynamic, and I would have to think how I would fit that in my current version. I don't know if I want to delete the percentages or just add a new option, or like a toggle, percentage or static number. I'd rather add the option to do either or. So adding by a base number or subtracting by a base number, or See, if you look at, I don't know if you're aware of my other side of this project, the song creator, but I want to bring that up because that's a good example of user configuration that I like to have in this project. So here, this is the other half of the project. The one that started it before the visualizer. This is a song creator. And the thing about this one, song creator, is look at all the user variables it has. On the first screen, you have a bunch of choices. Hold on, let me go back. I can't move the screen while I'm on the, I have to be on the main screen to click the song creator. Okay. Because these are both opened at the same time in the same program. They have to be picky of how I control the click management. But yeah, look at all the user variables. Like they have so many different variables to choose. Like this is for creating Guitar Pro 5 files. And there's like over 200 variables at least. What I'm trying to get at is I want the user to have as many options as possible. I don't want to have to hard code anything. It's built around, does the user want this? How does the user want that? So it's, and then saving those settings. So like each person has a profile of how they want things. There's even a piano song creator. But yeah, that's a whole other F of the project. Okay, so because with the percent, especially with music, there's a rhythm you develop, like listening to a metronome with the percent and the different tempos depending on the measure. I feel like the result would be a song sounding out of sync with itself. Oh, okay then. I mean, if that's how you want to view it, I won't stop you. I mean, I get it, but not for me. Lyrically, if you were singing, okay, if you want to think of it that way, I won't stop you. That's up to you. I listen back to each of my sessions. Like if I have a conversation with someone or whatever, I can still hear the conversation while I'm listening to the guitar recording. So I'm my own critic when it comes to my recordings. I'm okay with how I sound. That's why in the song creator, if you want to, if I could sell you on that song creator, the whole idea is to hit 100% of notes with song creator. Still think it's a great idea. Increase the tempo based on how well someone else plays the song instead of just playing, choosing easy, medium, hard. Oh, it was more fun when you were being harsh. If you want, I don't know if you like dynamic difficulty, but my philosophy towards it is regarding cover songs. See, to me, these are cover songs, right? Everything I've been playing so far. But when it comes to original songs, that's where I'm trying to write the notation to do what I know I could hit 100% right off the bat. And even in that, the tempo fluctuates if I wanted to or not based on things. But that's why I was trying to write this song creator program aimed at 100% of notes. Like, I wrote it, basically, you choose a key and a scale, all the configurations, what strings you want, what frets you want, and it'll basically write a whole song based on a bunch of different factors. The way it chooses the note lengths, the strings and the frets. Like I wrote, there's this song in particular. right? This is a static, was it 93 tempo, the whole song. And I'm pretty confident in my, oh, I broke it. Pretty confident that I broke that. There's a bug right there. That's because the file's in what I call the optional folder. So anyways, what I was trying to get at is that this song was created by the program, and I feel confident in hitting 100% of notes with a static 93 tempo. And it goes throughout the whole fretboard as evenly as it could, up to a certain range anyway. I think it goes up to fret 14, and it juggles each of the 6 strings through an algorithm. I think at the time it was a simple, like, choose a random. This was like back in 2021, 2022. And since then, I've changed a lot of the logic of the song creator. Oh, my bad. Thanks for telling me. I always forget about the windows. Here, I'll do it again. Oh, this is one song that was made by the program. I think it's like, I don't know. I like it. It's pretty good. I come back and listen to it from time to time. I play it quite a lot too. It's my most played of my own. But it goes along the whole fretboard choosing different strings. And it's not the most difficult because I know how it's written. Like it's written to choose 4 fingers at a time. And then every amount of notes, it changes that focus up and down, transitioning 1 fret up or down at a time. So I always know that it's always going to be in a certain range. Every time it moves up or down, it's always going to be in a 4-finger range. And the way it chooses the strings and frets, I kind of told it like things of try to be friendly for the user. If your previous string is 1 or 2, like it doesn't go too it tries not to go too far from like 6th string the 1st string within a short time span. It tries to say, okay, currently it's on the 6th string, that means the next one could be the 5th or the 4th. I'm currently on the 7th fret, that means the next one could be in the 8th, 9th, whatever. So I know, like, when playing this, I wrote that for my own play style. Like, I think I could hit 100% of the notes. So I'm okay with playing the dynamic tempo of cover songs all over from 40, 30, 60, 80, 90, 100, whatever. However it sounds, I'm okay with that. Because for me, I get the muscle memory. So next time I play it. But yeah, I never thought of it that way that you said it. It could be misleading in my like playthroughs. That's why I tried to point out the tempo along on the title. So you got the song name and then the measures and then the tempo. I don't know if you noticed that, but every now and then that measure number and tempo number should reflect the most current song or no, the most current note on the very bottom. That's a whole nother topic. The programming, pre-rendering the text before the game loop. Oh well, is there anything else? I'm not used to hanging out on these sessions, so it's quite nice. I usually just burn out after playing too much because it really hurts after a while. So currently I did 4. It's okay if I just chat. 4 songs: Cannon Rock, Emerald, Jailbreak, Mountain Jam. And they're all hard individually, but one after another too. Mountain Jam always gives me blisters from all the 1st string bends. Got blisters. Well, I could tell you what would help me as a viewer of what you're doing? Probably a lot of things, I'm sure. I'm sure you would have a whole list. But if you want to, for me, I haven't really had the technology, the hardware in order to stream. Like for the longest time from 2013 up until 2022 or something. I think that was the range, 2013, 2022. That whole time, I never really had the hardware to do the video. I only had it to do the audio. And I always wanted to do the video. So now that I have the technology, the hardware, the ability to stream, I'm working on all the other details that come after, the hardware requirements to barely be able to stream. So, yeah, anything else that's like a luxury from the user's perspective or from your perspective, like the just the fact that you're able to see and all this stuff going on as a viewer, it's difficult to know when oh right, you mentioned that earlier, when the note is hit or not. When the note, I never got back to that. I remember you mentioned that. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. No sustain. Okay. I have actual debug code that I could force this to say, like, force all notes as 100% hit. Okay. This is a current problem with the program, and I'm totally aware of it, what you brought up. So if I could start at the beginning of the whole note log frequency, well, I don't know if that's a good idea, because you're saying particularly the note hit. Okay. Yeah, that's a problem. I know. I'm completely aware, especially for me, because I look at the note and I go, if I missed, did I hit it or not? And I have the same question because I have to know, because when I'm looking at the note, that's interrupting me having to think, did I hit that note? When I'm trying to focus on the next note, I'm thinking about the previous. So it's interrupting me for sure. So, so the very first version I could even go back to versions. I could just change the branch. I have numerous versions, but the very last May, June, July is when I started this note hit stuff, basically almost a year ago. I know I take a while to get to what I have to say, but just because there's so much in this project, it's been going on like almost daily for 2+ years. I'm always thinking about it. But the note hit. Okay, so each note's currently they have a variable note hit, true, false, that says whether the note's been hit or not. Pygame has sprites. These sprites are the rectangles I'm drawing on the screen that they're moving. What I did, I'm giving you a little bit of backstory because it's fun. Initially, I had, so there's like a wide rectangle, and then you see the sustain is like a thinner, taller rectangle. At first, the first early versions of this program, I would have them separated. A base would be one image, one rectangle. The sustain would be another. So I would always have to update them separately. Well, something, man, okay. I'm confusing versions. Let me just get back to the note hit. The first couple of the versions of the note hit, I had on the top of the screen, it said hits. And that would update every time I hit a note, I would see the number hits increment. So if it starts at 0, I hit a note, that number hits would increment 1. I hit a note again, hits would say 2, and so on and so forth. But I noticed two things with that. It'll take my eyes off I didn't like that it took my eyes off the notes on the bottom, and I had to look at the top and see the number. Did I hit that? Look at the top. It'll take my eyes off the notes if I had to keep looking up, looking back and forth. But I did like that it gave me a visual cue of saying, oh, I hit the note, but it was too much of a downside. So on top of the performance, when it comes to text in this Pi game, I have to pre-render the text before the song starts, so that there's as little performance as possible, or as little calculations as possible going on during the song, because that's called a game loop. Okay, I know I'm getting off track. What are you thinking? If hit true, color original color, and if false, then color red. No, well, you're on the right track, because programming is basically if this, then that. So basically that's what the code is doing. But that's what the variable is. If note hit, in this current version, it switches the image of the sustain to a version of the sustain with the blue highlight behind it. But the problem is, the shorter the sustain, the less of the blue highlight you're going to get. So it's not always easy to tell. You can only tell if you get a no hit if the nut sustain is longer, for the most part. That's the problem. That's one problem. And I've been trying to brainstorm. For me, I refuse to change color, because I don't think that's a good idea, because there are 6 colors, right, for the 6 strings on the guitar, and I'm already set on those colors. I don't like that. Like, I don't know. There's another option of, I could just simply delete the bass of the note and sustain from displaying when it's registered as hit. I don't know what the solution is. I've been brainstorming. I could color the finish line. The finish line is the very flat line on the bottom that the notes go to. And once the finish line is there, the bass is at the finish line, staying at the finish line, while the sustain moves down below to show the length. That's the current version. I really don't know what the solution is. Like an animated sparkle, something when the note hit. Here, let me try, see if I could do something. I want to enable debug mode if I can. I have to remember where the code. Yeah, okay. This is something I recently changed, made the debugging a little easier. Just changing some code. This is for debugging. I wrote a comment. Okay, let's see if that does what I think it does, and try. The only bad thing about this is going to generate a note log that I'm going to have to delete. Okay, let's see if it works. No, did not. I missed a part. Oh, right here. I missed one part. Let's try again. Simulate note hits. That's the function name. Okay, here we go. So this is debugging mode, where it's saying every note is a hit. Okay, so every note, we're getting that note hit effect. You're going to see every sustain is going to have this blue highlight. And if you try to see the blue highlight on the short sustains, it between me as a player looking at the frets and doing all this, what I'm noticing is that, well, it's not either not triggering all the time, or it's triggering late. Late as in the bass has already hit this. Okay, I'm trying to explain this in the terminology I use in the programming language. The base of the note, the fatter width part of it, reaches the finish line, the line on the bottom. Once the bass goes to the finish line, it stays in the finish line until the sustain finishes the note. That's another thing I have in the settings. Sustain length scale, I currently have at 65%. That's because right now, if I put it as 100%, the sustain is actually the whole length of the note, which gets too long. It gets too long, but then when I lower it to get short, it gets too short. So it's kind of frustrating. The base of the note doesn't actually delete until the end of the song. The end of the note is reached. So each note has a start time and end time. And then you juggle the sustain length scale in it. So the part of the note hit, note detection, defining the frequency of the note that you're looking for, and then defining the frequency of the guitar input at the exact same timing of the note being ready to play. That whole logic, I would hope, is the reasoning for my miss. I don't know if I should be hoping for that or if it's actually my playing. I don't know which one to hope for. If I'm inaccurate or the program's inaccurate, I don't know. But if we go to even a faster song, right? We go to drop C. This one has been crazy fast recently with the dynamic tempo settings because it's increasing by percent rather than static amount right now. It gets fast. Like, how are you going to know these open? Like, it just flashes. Like, how do you tell? So I know, I get it. So, okay, I didn't realize you wrote something. That's what you're thinking too. Rock Band and Guitar Hero notify you by playing the sound, playing by distorted version of it. So you don't have to move your eyes anywhere. You can keep your eyes focused on the notes and have your ears be receivers of the hits and misses. Set of sparkles or color change when your eyes are so important. Something like this, you could program 3.25 audio indicator, which wouldn't take your eye. Okay, so the way okay, you help me figure that out then, because right now I don't necessarily have. Okay, I'm trying to think of how to say this. Sorry, I don't have a filter. I'm blowing air in the mic. Okay, so right now I have Logic that it defines the hit and the miss of the note, right? But it only says it's a miss when the note is over, which means I have until the very last second, until the note is over, for it to be registered as a hit. So if the sustain is, 90% over, but you still got that little 10%, I have a chance of calling it a hit. And I bring that up because what happens if I do introduce that audio of hit or miss, right? If I have the audio for hit and audio for miss, that audio for the miss is going to occur when the sustain is over. Like, will that interrupt me? Or not me, or whoever, like me, if that's implemented, I don't know. Like, what I'm trying to get at is there's like no logic that says you strum it and the note is still going, note missed, right? It doesn't currently do that. It says you strum it, you might have a note miss, but you still have time to recover. Or should I do, it's looking for this, should it look right away at that? Because what's going on is there's a list of frequencies, like not just that single one that's occurring, that's finding it as a hit. There's a whole bunch. And I can't just go through the most recent because some of them are way out there. Some of them are the 60 cycle hum from the the P90 pickups being too loud. And that gets confusing because some of the notes have 60-ish frequency. But I like the idea of improving the note hit effect. I just don't know the answer. So I could give a sound when the note's registered as hit, but the sound that's registered as miss, I'm concerned about the timing of that being at the very end of the note end time. So if I try to hit the miss at the start, if I try to hit the note at the start and I don't get any audio up until the note ends, there's like that timing gap that by the time the note after this one comes in, will the user confuse that note hit for the next one? Because if there's like 10% of sustain and you see another note coming in really fast, maybe the user is already thinking about that next note. They moved on from the current one. They said, I'll forget it, I missed. Okay. Say a note has 10 seconds sustain and you strum it at 9.5 seconds. And then another note has 1 second sustain and you strum at 0.5 seconds. Your reaction time for the second note is far faster than the first, and yet you are not rewarded for that. Okay, you're arguing with it. Okay. Okay. That's programming talk right there. You're describing the scenario with all the variables. Okay. So you're saying a 0.25. Wait. So how do I define the miss sound? Or are you still talking about the hit? Is the miss sound going to be played at the very end of the current note? That's my current logic of defining a miss, is if a hit is never detected for the duration of the note length. Because I think Guitar Hero and Rock Band have more of like immediate miss audio that's like you get one chance to call it a hit, I thought. Is there that little difference of logic? I'm not sure. So my game loop, I have 2 threads. If you're aware of how game 60 frames per second, in your own opinion, what defines a hit or miss should be based on when the note starts and not when it ends. Okay, that's fair. What would you give yourself a leniency for being late? Like any duration after the start, is there a leniency? Instead of 100%, like 99%, is there a point like maybe 5%? Or is it straight up? Because in my program, here, let me go back to the visualize. I don't know if this is a good example. March 10th, it might be. Wait, really? I played this? Wait, I'm confused. I did not play Hope Is on March. Oh, wait. See, I knew this would happen. This is 100% accuracy note log. Okay, I have to delete this one. Hold on. I was afraid of that happening. Let me go to the... That's going to mess my stats up if I keep it, because I had the debug on to hit 100% of notes. Hold on. Drop C, kill switch engage, song stats. Today. Okay, I'm going to delete that, and it should disappear. Oh, I crashed it because it was focusing on it. Okay. If I delete something from this screen, the Guitar Pro 5 screen, it just updates it automatically. That's pretty neat. But if I update the file in the stats screen, it crashes. Okay, let me go back. Hope. Oh, actually, hold on. Canon Rock. I'm trying to show like the current timing logic. Visualize. No, stats. March 10th, Canon Rock, visualize. Go to pie chart. Okay, so 63% of my node hits have been determined as late. So in that current logic, 63 would be a miss. Okay. To apply this to a job, if you show up on time for an 8-hour shift, your time, and you showed up for work that day, if you showed up for that same 8-hour shift 7.5 hours late, you technically showed up for work, but someone who shows up 7.5 works late every day receives the same rewards. Someone who shows up on time, reward system is flawed. Okay, that's fair. I mean, I like the logic behind it. I think that's a funny example. Okay. So you're saying I'm artificially inflating my accuracy by saying I made it when I didn't. So there goes my 70% accuracy. Oh man. Well, there's that. The logic. Okay, well, I have to admit there is a flaw to the program too, and that it's 2D, right? When you get 3D, you get the aspect of near and far, where far is short is smaller, and near grows bigger. And I'm sure that aspect of the note growing in size will tell me, like, hey, you should hit this note. Whereas now, I admit I do have trouble determining the finish line when the note is ready, right? It's hard to tell between the, the rectangle and the finish line. And I'm not making excuses, but the current program or the current logic that I have, I can't tell if it's the logic or if it's me playing it or what in terms of playing a note playing a note on time and having it registered in the program. Because when I debug it in this logic, we can see it working. The whole aspect of these, the velocity of the notes moving every game frame, blah blah blah. It's like right here. Oh, hold on. Oh, I crashed it. All right, let me turn off the debug. All right, so what you're saying is lessen up on the forgiveness on being late when it's okay. I'm trying to think in the programming. Dang. So late at all. So just remove any too low. Mic too low. Okay, hold on. I don't know how much further I could turn it up. I'm doing artificial volume increase. Is it too much noise going on in the background or anything? I turned it up more. Strawberry Dar. Man, I'm trying to think how it applies to the program. If I just lessen the forgiveness on being late, because that's what the issue is, right? It's rewarding me. It keeps increasing my speed because I'm allowing it myself to be late. So I keep getting rewarded, and it keeps getting more difficult. And then the percentage increase is too much. Should be a flat number. Okay, restart the program. Okay, let's look at my most recent note stats. %60 late, 33% early, and 6% on time. So I think the on time logic is a bit too difficult in the current version because you have to be like within like decimal timing. This note starts at 2.34 seconds. And that is insane timing to be able to hit it exact. So I don't know how realistic that on time one is compared to the early. The early is not as forgiving either. The early is just by 0.05. I think it's seconds, right? Or that's my current buffer window, I call it. No, sorry, it's actually, hold on, I have two different. Okay, so in the note detection, I have a buffer window of 0.2, 200 milliseconds. But I have another variable. Hold on. My other variable for that get timing function. Okay. Okay, I think there might be a little desync. My get timing, the function that says whether the note is late, early, on time. That note registration forgiveness is 0.05. So if the note is 0. Okay, no wonder I'm not getting them on time. If I'm 0.0. Sorry, if I'm 0.05 seconds after the note start time, then that's considered on time. And that's nothing at all. Oh, hold on. The way the function's written, it's a bit confusing. Start time minus 0.05 less than or equals to the note hit time. Hold on. I have to unstash something. Get. Okay, unstash. Okay. The hit time. Oh, man. Hold on. You will inherently have a higher accuracy on songs with more notes that have longer sustains than songs that have notes with no sustains. Your reaction time is not what indicates your accuracy. The length of the sustain does. This takes the statistics out of the user's hands. Wow. I'm just getting owned over here. I like it. Relentless. I like that. That's a good way of thinking of it, though. I gotta save that. Put it on like little motivational calendar. You are lying to yourself by saying that you're documenting your data when your data is all wrong. It's biased. No, I mean it's okay. I get that's fine. I'm trying to think of how to implement that. I want to improve it. That's why I give these program different versions. Like this is version 0.80. So I'm constantly changing the versions with different settings. If it's more accurate to the truth, then I like it. If the changes requested make my playthroughs more accurate as to what I actually play, then I'm for it. I'm just trying to think of the note logic hit. Well, there's a lot of things I'm juggling, right? There's a whole lot of systems. There's one part of defining the frequencies. Like this isn't why I missed a lot of the notes on this particular session, but it is why I'm missing some notes in other sessions or whatever for certain songs. I have JSON file that is for each here this each string and each fret has a frequency, but not all of them are accurate between tunings, and some are not defined on a particular tuning. So I tried adding this chord frequency screen to debug, chord detect, play frequency, the chord that it's expecting. By these metrics, your early will always be consistent because the start of the note always has a consistent start. Your window for late is vastly higher with sustained notes, creating an imbalance. So you're just saying be more. Well, should there be any forgiveness at all for late, or what should the? I guess I have to think that through. Like 5%. Or I'm saying 5%, but like right now my timing for early is 0.05 second, which is so minimal. Late and early should have the same forgiveness. Oh, I see. So it's fair. Okay. I just got to prepare mentally. My accuracy is going to sink, whether it's me or the program or both. But I'll be interested in how that works in combination with the static number tempo change. I have to write this down. Okay. To do have the forgiveness buffer, defining when a note is late and when a note is early, to use the same buffer for both. This way there's no bias for early or late. Also, I have to match that number because there's another number that says, when is this note ready to be played, right? You go down each note. I mean, right now I have that defined by time. So notes determine ready to be played if the current song time is greater than or equal to the sum, or the difference, sorry. Okay, so the note is determined ready to be played if the current song time is greater than or equals to the difference of the note start time minus the forgiveness. And that forgiveness is 0.05. But that's a little desynced with the function that said, oh, no, it's the same 0.05. Okay, never mind. They're both, so it says when the note is ready to be played is at 0.05. But the late thing is right now doing the whole length that I have to change to be on that same number. Okay. That's not fair that my song was way harder would be prevalent among people. Oh, okay. Oh, I said if I gave you $5 for every note you played within 0.5 seconds and then gave you a song that had no sustained notes, then offered someone else the same $5 per note, then within 0.5, every note had 5 seconds sustained, you'd be less than thrilled. Okay, yeah, a song with no sustain would be interesting. So that would be called staccatos, right? Well, even the staccato has a sustain. Well, in this program, so here's a staccato test. Here, let me put it on repeat. So this is my repeat measure. Start at measure 0, repeat until measure 4. There's only 4 measures. Repeat it 5 times. So we're going to see it. Because it's so short, I just wanted to repeat. So currently the staccatos are signaled by the X. Staccato just cuts the sustain, but it doesn't say no sustain, it just cuts it, the duration of it. But if I change the song length scale, this part is only the visual aspect. There's still a note end time, but I know what you mean. You're saying the note end time, have it be like 0.1 second after the start time. Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, that's fair. Okay, so there's that, and then there's the tempo screen. I'm just trying to keep track of all the notes here. I'm writing it in the code as to do. Okay, so in the note screen, to do have tempo increase and decrease by a static number rather than percentage based. Fair. Okay. I think that's it. Okay. So with that said, it is getting a bit late. I started this session late. I like how you switch to typing even though I can hear you. What? Oh, right. Uh, that's how you know I'm a guitarist and not a vocalist. It's still kind of weird talking to myself. The whole streamer thing where you just watch someone talk to themselves. But here we are. If you're not, I don't know if you've ever been around, but on this current session, I call it 421 on the top left. So what I do is every time I play, I record and I call it session whatever. And then I take the audio and I put it on my SoundCloud. And I take the video and I put it on my YouTube. So what I'm trying to get at is I'm going to conclude this session, but I'll come back in another session. And you're welcome to join. Eventually in one of these sessions, I'll have these changes and we'll see how they go. Because I'm always looking for ideas how to improve this program. It's driving me crazy. I always daydream of what to write in here. And it's fun sharing. Let's come back next session. I'll see you around. Thank you. I'm glad you could tolerate it. I really try to play. And these songs I've been playing for years, and I'm still not mastered them. It's like it just goes to show like the craftsmanship that went into the placing the notes. Whoever wrote it, it still holds up today after all these years. And it's crazy. All these songs I've been playing, the Cannon Rock, Mountain Jam, Thin Lizzy. Yeah, you should, like the speed of the notes, the bends, the slides, all the strings, all the frets, the tone, the tempo. I'm glad you recognize. Okay, but I'm just gonna keep going. Playing it while watching the notes in your program is another level. Yeah, I don't know if you saw, but there was times where I was like, no, I'm not looking at the fretboard, not looking, because I got to see the notes. And there's other times where like, okay, I gotta look, and then when I look, I have to compensate that delay of like when I'm focusing. But it's addicting. But yeah, you're welcome to join next time. You remember doing the same thing playing piano. Sometimes you have to look at the keys. I guess you never like reach that point where you never have to. Like, is there ever that point where you never have to? Personally, for me, I have more experience in the 1 through 12 fret range, or 1 through 14, than the higher up 15 through 21. For the longest time, 15 through 21 fret range from like 2013 to, I don't know, 2022, I never really focused on that range because the guitar I had up until 2020 could never hold a tune. So I always avoided it. And now I have guitars that sound good in that range, and the frets shrink. So it's not just that, the frets shrinking, that's fine. But I don't know if you know the difference between the 50s neck and the 60s neck on a guitar. At least on the guitars I have. The 60s neck, when you try to bend the string, the notes above it are so close that it gets in the way on the 60s neck. But on the 50s neck, there's much more gap between the strings and there's much more room to bend. Just something to think about. But okay, see you next time. Thanks for your time. I don't mean to cut you off, but usually I don't go on this long. Next time. All right, bye.